You're watching Meet the Movie Press, and coming up, we're going to be talking about the Halloween reboot, Phoebe Waller-Bridge joining Star Wars Han Solo, and Jack Nicholson coming out of retirement just for you.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Meet the Movie Press.
Good morning, Simon!
Hey, man, how are you?
I am wonderful. I am 33 years old today.
What?
I am old. It's my Larry Bird birthday today.
Can I also wish you, wow,
Oh, my.
can I also wish you a very happy maniversary?
Oh?
Because it was a year ago today that we did our very first show together.
Look at that. I didn't even, nobody tells me these things. I'm so sorry I forgot our anniversary.
I got you a present. Didn't? I didn't
That's
get you
okay.
a present. I missed didn't.
I forgive you.
Out of that sentence.
The fact that you keep coming back each week is a gift to me.
Well,
I figured I would have scared you off long ago. Folks, I am Jeff Snyder. You can find me on Twitter at @TheInSnyder, and I am editor-in-chief of the Tracking Board, tracking-board.com. And Simon?
hello there. I'm Simon Thompson. You can find me on Twitter at ShowbizSimon, Instagram at ShowbizSimon, and on Facebook, This is Simon Thompson.
Simon, I'm catching up to you now at 33.
Really?
Yeah.
You're still a couple of years behind me.
Yeah.
You little whippersnapper.
But won't we meet somewhere in the middle? Because you have like a Benjamin Button thing going on. You just get younger, right?
Yes, I do.
You're gonna get younger
Showbiz
and I'm gonna
age.
get older.
I'm actually 79.
We got a good show this week,
I don't know where I
folks.
am right now. I may have messed myself.
Lots going on.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start, big guy?
Okay, let's talk about probably the biggest news of the week. Jack Nicholson.
Jack's back, baby!
Jack Nicholson.
Justin-
coming out of retirement.
Justin Kroll busting this one out over at Variety.
He kept that quiet when he was on the show last week.
Yeah, I didn't get any tip-offs about this
No.
one. So yeah, Jack Nicholson looks like he's coming out of retirement,
Yeah.
although we use that word loosely. Nobody
It's
really
not really
knew.
retirement. He just really hasn't had a project that he wanted to make.
Right.
Because he has said he's not retired.
So this is a Tony Erdmann remake. The film is nominated for Best Foreign Language Oscar.
Great movie, by the way.
I still haven't seen it, actually.
It's great. It's a bit fucked up, but it's a great movie.
Right. It's
yeah.
a German comedy,
Yeah.
right?
There aren't many of those.
And I guess Jack Nicholson saw this movie. He loved it. He
Yeah.
lobbied for Paramount's Brad Gray to get
Yeah.
the rights.
Yeah.
And they were negotiating the remake rights. And now Kristen Wiig is on board to play his daughter as well.
Yeah.
By the way, I love like the Rap had a headline. It was like, was Kristen Wiig going to go full frontal for this movie? I was like,
Really?
that is, yes. I was like, wow, that's quite the article.
Wow. Has that
No.
suddenly become Mr. Skin?
Now, no writer or director on
No.
board yet. And Jack has done this before.
Yeah.
He did it with St. Vincent, which ended up going to Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Do you think that this movie actually happens? Is this just something to keep Jack's like in the game, so to speak?
No, I think it'll happen. I can feel it in my water. I think this is going to happen. I don't know whether... I mean, the only member of the cast that I thought might change is Kristen Wiig. I could see Jack absolutely owning this lead role. I think he'd be absolutely superb. I wonder if Kristen is the interchangeable one. But no, I think it'll happen. I would put money on it.
Well, it's Will Ferrell and Adam McKay producing.
Yeah.
McKay obviously has a lot of clout over on the
Yes.
Paramount lot these days.
And they work really well together. They tend to turn out really good stuff.
Right, and they've obviously worked with Kristen Wiig a
Yeah.
lot as well.
Yeah.
This is going under the Gloria Sanchez banner, which I kind of like, as opposed to Gary Sanchez. Is there anybody you would like to see write or direct this movie?
Well, when I heard that obviously it was going to be McKay behind it, I actually would really like to see his take on it. Or Jay Roach hasn't done.
Interesting.
I mean, he did. Was it the dinner with Schmucks?
Yeah, that wasn't that good.
That was terrible.
yeah, it was,
That was
wait a
terrible.
second.
But then I was like, the first Meet the Parents was absolute comedy genius.
That's true. I love Meet the Parents.
So I think given the right material, he could absolutely nail this
that's
format
a great.
of movie.
You know what? That's a really interesting call. It's a
thank
thoughtful
you.
suggestion
Thank
from you.
Meet the Schmucks was just terrible material.
But either way, I think we'd all be happy to have one more from Jack. His last film was How Do You Know, which was not very good. The
No.
James L. Brooks film.
No.
So yeah, let's
Genuinely excited me this week.
yeah.
Genuinely excited me.
The one that excited me a ton was
Which one is that?
Was yesterday's news about Halloween.
Yes.
This came out of nowhere. We knew that Miramax.
I was not expecting this news.
I'm not even sure if I knew that Blumhouse was involved or not. But Blumhouse and Miramax ended up hiring David Gordon Green to direct this film,
Yeah.
and he's going to co-write it with none other than Kenny Powers himself, Danny McBride.
Well, you say you didn't know Blumhouse was involved in this, but about a year ago, 18 months ago, that when sort of Blumhouse was announcing a number of projects, they did say they were looking at the idea of doing a Halloween, and John Carpenter was somehow
maybe I just forgot
involved
for some reason.
But he's not mentioned in this announcement.
Yes, he is.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
He made the announcement. He made the announcement on
Well, then he's very involved.
on
I
Facebook.
completely missed that.
So he is John Carpenter, the original Halloween director, is going to be involved in this. He hasn't been involved in a lot of these movies. He's going to executive produce, and he said he might even do the score, which would be
That
super
would be
exciting.
so amazing.
I just love that Blumhouse and Miramax are taking a chance and doing something completely different by going with Gordon Green and McBride.
Yeah.
From what I understand of these two guys, they are huge horror buffs. David Gordon Green was developing the Suspiria remake for years.
Yeah.
He was attached to direct that. And Danny McBride, I know, is a big horror guy. He loves Alien, and that's how he talked his way into Alien Covenant.
Yep.
He impressed none other than Ridley Scott with his horror movie knowledge and whatnot. So I just like that they're not going with the typical horror voices. They're trying to do something different. I think you have to.
Yeah.
There's been God knows how many movies in this franchise.
Yep.
It has been awful of
Probably
late.
about 50% of them suck.
More than 50%.
51%.
51% of them are bad, and the
Yeah.
Rob Zombie films,
I didn't
were
like
not,
those.
Were not good either.
I tried to rewatch those quite recently, like 9 months ago.
So
Not good movies.
I'm a big fan of this. David Gordon Green. I know these guys are known for comedy, but David Gordon Green came out of drama.
Yeah.
So yeah, high hopes for this.
Very high
Couldn't
hopes.
ask for
Very
much
genuinely excited about that. Staying with kind of a horror bent, M. Night Shyamalan announced the Split sequel this week.
Well, now why does he not need to announce it? Isn't it obvious from watching the movie? Like, why else would you even have that ending if they weren't going to do something with it?
Well, you say that, I say that, but referring back to a couple of weeks ago, there's a lot of the audience who didn't get that ending. So I think
guess you're
that's
right, because they're
why-
younger and they're not. They
Yeah.
don't even know what the hell they're looking at.
That's why
that
I was just like, who's the old bald guy?
Fair
and I was
enough.
like, it's me. It's me. This is really. I'm actually in the theater.
You
That's
do
quite
look
rude.
like Bruce in the right light.
Thank you. Interesting Bruce Willis anecdote. I once got
Anecdote alert.
I did an interview with him a couple of years ago for Red, and he's a notorious difficult interview. He can be prickly, to say the least. We were doing a little chit chat, and I said that I work out where I am chronologically in the Bruce Willis movie timeline by comparing our hairlines, because Bruce Willis and I kind of lost our hair in the same succession.
I see.
He loved that. I thought he was going to punch me in the nuts, but he loved it.
Maybe you'll be his
So
son
I got
in Die Hard
extra
6
time.
or
I got
whatever.
extra time in my interview.
Okay, so M. Night announces
Yeah.
a Split sequel. I think that this could be really cool. I mean, if it's Bruce Willis sort of going after McAvoy.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Split, but I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to love it. And a lot of
Yeah.
people came out of the early screenings going, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
enjoyed it. I didn't think it was but teaming him up with Bruce Willis for a sequel, I think would actually work really, really well. And he was saying this week that he's done an 11-page outline for an Unbreakable sequel. So where those are going to intersect, whether we're looking at a
So these are two different
trilogy-
movies,
Well,
Split
I don't-
2 and Unbreakable 2?
To me, it wasn't entirely clear.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's,
But I think there's a lot more to do with James McAvoy's character from Split, and I would like to see more Unbreakable. So we'll see.
what a hell of a year for Blumhouse, though. That movie did
It's a
huge.
strong year.
Split did
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
and I'm pumped for Get Out, which is
Yeah.
also I think is going to do really well.
But I think they're also, because I think they're not driven as a studio. They're more of a production house. I think they can kind of take these risks and innovative ideas where some studios might be a little bit concerned about putting up the money. They can kind of go and do these things
Yeah.
and put them out there, and the risk is on them rather
only-
than a studio.
If only I had known what I know now 10 years ago when I was an intern at Blumhouse, had my foot in the door just the right time,
Yeah.
and then right before Paranormal Activity ends up coming out, I bolted for this lovely world of
Who knew?
trade journalism. Right? Who knows?
knew?
Who knew? All right, let's move on to Star Wars.
Okay.
So Justin also broke a story this week about Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the star of Fleabag,
Yeah.
which I believe is on Amazon,
Apparently so. I'm not aware of the show at
joining
all.
Han Solo in a CGI role.
Yeah.
So you don't watch the show.
No.
Neither do I.
I've never heard of it.
But I've heard it's great. Oh no, I've heard great things about
Yeah.
Fleabag. And I'm an Amazon Prime member. I just don't use the interface. I don't go to that like section of Amazon Prime or whatever. I don't watch a lot of that stuff. Do you?
I watch more than I did about a year ago.
So are you a member?
Yeah, I am.
So
yeah.
you go to like AmazonPrime.com or whatever that it is.
I do, but I don't
Prime
find it very easy to navigate, to be honest with you. And I
Right.
find it quite difficult to find stuff. I mean, this is kind of a dull story, but when I use Amazon Prime, I tend to line up what I want to watch by using the interface that's great for an iPad, rather than the one that I use if I log on with my Mac.
Interesting. See,
Yeah,
my iPad.
So the interface
iPad's
to me
so
is really
old,
biz.
I couldn't
It
even
was
watch
really
video on it.
important, but, yeah.
But like I use Hulu, I use Apple TV, and they don't. You can't watch
No.
Amazon Prime on Apple TV,
No,
and
you
that's
cannot.
really what the problem is for me. Anyways, Fleabag star Phoebe
Mm-hmm.
Waller-Bridge, CGI role in Han Solo. No one was quite sure what to make of it, what she could be playing, an alien creature, a Maz Kanata type, whatever. But I am here to tell you,
Yes.
we are going to make some Star Wars history right now.
What?
For I'm told that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is going to be the first female droid in Star Wars history.
So this is the droid you're looking for.
This is the droid that you're looking for,
Great.
perhaps. But yeah, C-3PO, R2-D2, K-2SO, and now whoever Phoebe Waller-Bridge is going to be. But she is the first female droid. Kind of cool.
Is she going to be she 3PO?
Probably not.
Just okay. Well, that went down well.
She 3PO? What?
She 3PO?
Yeah, if anything.
She?
A lot of white British actresses though in this Star Wars in this new Star Wars universe,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Am I not seeing things correctly?
No.
And what's crazy is just when I started hearing about the female lead in Han Solo,
Mm-hmm.
everyone swore up and down she would be an actress of color. Like that they were looking at Gugu and
Yep.
Tessa Thompson and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what's going on here, but whatever.
Hollywood does love a British female, though.
You Brits are just so lovable.
We're everywhere. We're everywhere. Coming over here,
All
stealing
right.
those jobs.
Well, you get to pick what is next, big guy.
Okay, David Fincher. Apparently this week registered his interest in World War Z 2. Now, I took a lot of shit when I saw World War Z, because I saw an early screening in the UK, and I really loved the movie. And there was somebody on Twitter, who I won't name, who launched into a tirade accusing me of, because bearing in mind that I'd seen the movie and this person hadn't, launched into a tirade about how I was paid by the studio to say great things and they'd heard it was a shit show, blah, blah, blah. I really enjoyed World War Z. When I heard they were doing a sequel, I was genuinely very pleased about that. I think there's a lot of things to do. I really like the idea of David Fincher taking this story forward.
Who doesn't? Like, of course, this is awesome.
I absolutely love him. I don't love all of his work, but I really like the idea of what he could do with World War Z 2.
Well,
it has been pulled from
I was going to say,
2017.
I'm glad you like the idea because it is not going to happen.
Oh.
It is going to be an idea only.
What would they have to do then to make him, or to get him to do it?
Oh no, he's in.
Oh, he is in.
Like they're negotiating. He wants to do it. He's
Right.
there. If you're making,
So why do you
let's go
say
make
it's not
this-
going to happen?
Because they don't want to make it with David Fincher or not. They don't want to do it. Like they
Really?
reassessed everything. That's why they pulled it off the calendar. Not because, it's not
But
ready.
It was a profit. The first one was a profitable movie.
Barely. It was not. Because of all that. The third act having to be reshot and all the reshoots like that, it put on another huge expense.
Yeah.
Hiring people like Damon Lindelof, who doesn't work cheap. That sent it over budget, and so it thinned the margin. The profit margin. Now with David Fincher, as great as he is,
Yeah.
and how there's probably an audience of people who would just go see this movie, even if they weren't otherwise inclined,
Yeah.
because it's a David Fincher film. He has that loyal audience.
Yeah.
He's also a guy who's prone to going over budget. And and they can't afford to have that again. And this new film, the sequel, would be at a proposed lower budget than the first film.
That would be a mistake. I wouldn't want to see them strip budget.
They can't afford to go bigger because then you get Star Trek Beyond. I mean, that lost like $100 million.
Which
like,
I liked.
I know you liked it, but it wasn't. It's not a good movie, and it lost a ton of money.
We'll agree to disagree on that. I enjoyed that movie. It's not Citizen Kane, but I did enjoy that movie.
I enjoyed World War Z. I'm with you on World War Z, where
Yeah.
like I thought that movie was going to be a disaster, and it ended up being
A lot
pretty
of people
good.
did. A lot of people
Yeah.
just wrote it off before it came out.
Right. I liked it. I thought that they saved it, and I would definitely be down to see a sequel because I love Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
And of course, I want to see Fincher working with Brad Pitt again. Like that is a great idea, but you know, he's been at the table. If they wanted to make the movie, they would have signed him and just push the release date or whatever. But instead, they took it off the calendar entirely because I don't think this new Paramount regime is interested in it. It's too much of a risk.
Okay.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, but
Which is why Boris was like, they're shutting down Friday the 13th. Like, they both got pulled off the calendar in the
But
same
nobody's crying out
release.
for another Friday the 13th movie. I mean, that last one.
But are people crying out for World War Z 2?
I am.
I think there's more people interested in a new Jason Voorhees movie than World War Z.
You see, I would disagree, and here's why. Because I think that if you're looking at... let's look at a month of release for World War Z. Okay, I think you're going to see less of a drop-off in ticket sales and stronger word of mouth, if it's a good movie, for World War Z sequel than you are Friday the 13th.
We're talking about different things. Like, one's a tentpole and one's a little horror movie. But...
Yeah, but I mean, just look at sort of week-on-week returns. Horror tends to have quite a large drop-off. But I think if you put something that's action and zombies, I think you're going to kind of your drop-off week-on-week is going to be considerably less.
It's not about the drop-off. It's about what they cost. World War Z 2, to me, I think it's the right call not doing this movie right now for Paramount right now.
Okay.
They need to wean themselves off those franchises that they have.
See, I don't think we'd see. I mean, you're talking about right now. I don't think we'd see World War Z 2 now until 2019,
if at all. But yes, I think it's at least that.
If I was Paramount and I'm going to put eggs in a franchise basket, I would definitely look at World War Z as I wouldn't completely write that off at all.
They have Pitt, which is like a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. But speaking of Friday the 13th, that was an interesting report. So that was supposed to come out this October, and it's always funny to me when they move a Friday the 13th because they have to push it 6 months essentially to hit the next Friday the 13th on the calendar. So that would be April 2018. But Boris came in and said they're shutting it down. Now, what I understood, my interpretation of they're shutting it down was. This movie was in pre-production, trying to like start shooting next month or whatever. It didn't have cast yet, but it was going to start shooting this spring for a fall release.
Yeah.
And so they just shut the office down. Like, I don't think that the project is just gone. Like, the rights are too valuable. They got the rights as part of that Interstellar rights swap with Warner Brothers.
Correct.
Like,
yeah.
Otherwise, it's basically like you gave Warner Brothers a piece of Interstellar for nothing.
Yeah.
In a sense. So like they are going to do something with Friday the 13th. It just won't be as soon as we all thought. That's all.
I mean, I don't think we've seen the last of the franchise. I mean, this happens often. I mean, what was the studio that owned Hellraiser for a while?
It's me. Dimension?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Could have been. Sometimes these studios, they do tend to hang on to the rights for quite a while. If they have the rights for like 5 or 10 years, they will wait until the end of that. I just don't... I mean, I would be open to the idea of a Friday the 13th movie. I just don't think we need it right now, and I think it would have to be really, really strong to come back. Because horror at the moment, I think expectations are very high for horror.
They are. It was a good year last year.
Yeah, it was a very strong year. I mean, financially and also with regards to quality.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you are going to do that... I think you have to wait and you have to really work on it, and it has to be something very strong. I mean, I rewatched the one they released a couple of years ago, the Friday the 13th movie, and it was just not a great movie. No, it was half
completely unforgettable.
It was bad casting.
Real bad casting.
Yeah.
Who's it? Like Danielle Panabaker or something?
Yeah.
It's like these CW stars. Can't go in that direction, and I think that they need to do something like get a David Gordon Green and a Danny McBride.
Yeah, so I would
say
if you are still looking to do this, well, obviously they're taking off the schedule right now. Offices close down for productions all the time. You know as well as I do. So many movies get to that point where they're almost about to start, and then one of the pins falls out. Yeah, it happens all the time, so it's no big thing. But I think they would be better off to delay that by about 5 years. Really work on it. Really get a strong cast.
5-year delay for Friday the 13th.
No,
folks.
I would do that, and I would work on it in a similar vein to what Universal are doing with their reboot of their Universal Monster franchise.
That is a lot of work.
And I think if
Friday the 13th does not have this. Is not like the Monsters universe.
No, I'm not comparing it to the Monsters universe. I'm comparing it to the model where you go, okay, let's go back to the drawing board with this. Let's work on it for a few years. Let's build something around it. Let's get some big names involved, whether it's producers, directors, talent, etc., etc. And if we're going to do it, we're going to do it hard.
I think
That's what I would personally do.
I don't know why anyone would need 5 years to develop a Friday the 13th movie. This thing writes itself. I don't think it's that tricky, and I think that this latest iteration was on the right track. But we can move on from Friday the 13th.
Okay.
Let's talk about. You had mentioned a couple of sequels that one is going to happen, one probably never will happen. Strangers and Dread.
Yeah.
So the Stranger sequel was announced to shoot this summer, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And
It's a movie that a lot of people have forgotten about, The Strangers.
I liked it.
It was a great movie. It didn't... I mean, I was in the UK when it came out. It kind of didn't really do much at the box office, but I think it did okay over here, right?
It did very... Yeah, I think it did pretty well.
quite well.
It was the great trailer. That's
Liv
what it was.
Tyler
People got
and-
fucking freaked out at that trailer.
Yeah. It was creepy as fuck. And a lot of movies since then have kind of taken that idea and they've run with it. I mean, we saw Hush on Netflix. We've seen The Purge kind of taking, home invasion, the threat outside kind of thing. I'm really interested to see a sequel to The Strangers.
But it's not with Liv or Scott Speedman, or will they be in it for
they're not
maybe a
mentioned
scene?
right now. I'm assuming they wouldn't. I'm assuming it would be a different couple.
Yeah, for I reported on this movie back at the wrap,
Right.
and I think it's very different. I think it's like another family like being chased around like a trailer park or something like that.
That would work.
Like an
I'm assuming
industrial
it's going to be
park.
theatrical, right? Or they're not going to do like a... It's not going to go to VOD, or it's not going to go straight to DVD.
That I don't know. That could easily wind up on VOD.
Yeah. Which would be a shame, because I think, done right, I think it could be a really good...
But the first one had Liv Tyler. Liv Tyler, one of the most successful actresses of all time.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But I do like Liv Tyler.
Because of Lord of the Rings and Armageddon, she can
true.
Liv Tyler in a movie gets it financing. She has a lot of value overseas.
That's really interesting.
Yes, it is.
Where is she now?
I have no fucking idea.
I'll call her. I'll text her. That won't be creepy.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Dread 2. You're saying that it may be animated?
Well, yeah, I mean,
say we'll probably never going to see this movie.
Let's give some backstory to this. There is, I think it's Castlevania, which is the computer game. There's going to be an animated version of that as a TV series. It's going to be on Netflix. So the producer of that, which is Adi Shankar, was doing interviews this week, and he basically said that if Dread 2 happens, it would be likely that it would be an animated TV series rather than a live-action movie.
Probably because they don't have the live-action rights. It's probably owned by the studio.
I would be interested in seeing a Dread 2 live-action movie. If it's going to be an animated series or an animated movie, I would be less interested in that. I think
that goes across the board.
I don't think many people really want to see that.
I don't think that is Dread 2. That is just a different Dread thing.
Yeah.
But speaking of sequels, Bad Boys for Life shifted. It sounds like Will Smith is going to do Dumbo.
Yes.
And so that caused the delay. And so with that delay, Sony has just said, let's just take part 4 off the calendar for now.
But also that kind of makes sense to me because
I don't know why their part 4 was ever on the calendar before.
It seemed like kind of a
make one fucking movie at a time.
You've heard it.
You heard it here,
Just
Sony.
told you. No, I just think, but as Bad Boys, I think also because of age, I think because of a shift in audiences, I would say that Bad Boys 3 would be a really nice round-off point. I mean, there's a lot of franchises that push for that 4th or 5th movie, and they really should have stopped at 3. Really good example, Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon 4, bad idea. Shit movie.
Yeah.
Leave it at 3. I think that these things really work nicely as a 3.
Listen, here's the thing.
You could round it off really nicely.
I love Bad Boys.
So do I.
I don't love
Who
Bad
doesn't?
Boys 2.
Dicks,
A lot of people think Bad Boys 2 is better than Bad Boys. Those people are crazy.
Yeah.
Bad Boys is a fucking, maybe even a perfect, it's like, it's a fucking great movie.
The Citizen Kane of buddy movies.
I love Will Smith and Martin Lawrence together.
Mm-hmm.
I love Joe Carnahan as well. I think he could be great for this franchise. That said, I don't know how many people are really interested in seeing Martin Lawrence play this character again. He is not the Martin Lawrence of the mid '90s. He is not a movie star anymore.
He is not.
No. So the only thing that you can really do with this franchise, and I don't know if how much Part 3 was going to be like this. I don't know what the plan was. You have to give it to the next generation. You have to give it to bad boys. These are like bad grandpas. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
Be very careful what you're wishing for.
No. You give this
Be very
franchise
careful.
to Michael B. Jordan.
Give it to women. Queen Latifah.
No.
Jada Pinkett Smith.
You think like a studio executive, please, for 2 seconds.
I think
You give this franchise to Michael B. Jordan. That is what you do.
right.
And like John Boyega. John Boyega is Martin Lawrence's kid, and it's like this is a
I just don't want to
no-brainer.
see that. No, I want to see one final Will Smith, Martin Lawrence together. Popeye's chicken eating motherfucker.
Okay.
I want to see that. I don't want to see the kids. I don't want to see somebody else in the roles. I don't want to see a 4th or 5th or 6th movie. I don't want to see a new generation. Let's end it here with those two guys back in the driving seat, full circle.
But there needs to
Leave
be another element to the film, Simon. You can't just have those two guys.
The only element.
Martin Lawrence is 51 years old. You want to see, and he's like overweight. Like you want to see him doing barrel rolls behind cars and shit.
Welcome to my world. I'm not 51. But no, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I just think don't mess with what you've got.
It's the same way they introduced Pesci, in Lethal Weapon 3, right?
Okay, say fuck you at the
Right?
drive-thru.
You
Fuck you at the
You've
drive-thru.
got Mel and Danny Glover for
Yeah.
2 movies, but you need something to turn on that third film. So whether it's a Joe Pesci character,
Female boss.
whether it's adding Kevin Hart to the fucking mix as
Yes.
their boss,
Yeah,
you
is
know,
he
like,
available?
I don't fucking know what it is, but they need something.
No, you see, I get that, and I think they do need to add something in there to take it. But I just want to see Will Smith and Martin Lawrence back in the leads.
We have a lot more show left,
We do.
folks, but right now Simon has some homework.
I do. I have it written down, which is good. I tried to do this.
You
stuff
brought
off
it
the
in
top of my
today.
head.
I'm glad the dog
did.
didn't eat it.
No, that is true. Although my dog is tending to eat some really weird stuff at the moment right now. So we've talked about this on the show before, Blue Apron. And food and movies going together really, really well. Well, Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country.
That's a big place,
It's
a large territory.
absolutely, and it takes 2 days to get my stuff from Amazon across the country. But when it comes to food, these guys deliver. They literally do deliver. That is what they do day in, day out. Their mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everybody. You get home after a screening, and you kind of can't be bothered.
I make cereal.
Yeah.
I can't cook, but
Okay,
if I
so-
had Blue Apron, I'd be all set.
Yeah, and you kind of order a pizza, and you're like,
Yeah.
it's going to take like half an hour. 40 minutes it takes to
Right.
basically make a meal from Blue Apron. 40 minutes is not a long time. I ordered takeout the other night. I spent $30 on it. It took over 40 minutes to get there. A meal for Blue Apron costs about $10, and you're made it from scratch in 40 minutes, which is absolutely quite incredible.
Sounds
to be
healthy
honest
and
with you.
nutritional.
It is. I mean, they do loads of stuff. I mean, if you like nuts, you like nuts, right? Who doesn't like nuts?
Love them.
Who doesn't like nuts? Cashew chicken stir fry with tango mandarins and jasmine rice. Boom, 40 minutes on your plate, in your mouth. It's pretty damn satisfying, right? Udon noodle soup with miso and soft-boiled eggs. I love noodles.
Wonderful.
Seriously, I do. It's affordable, it's flexible, it's easy, it's guaranteed. If you check out this week's menu on the website, you also get your first 3 meals free with free shipping. 2 frees. We like free. That is my favorite price. Go to blueapron.com/meat, MEET, not MEAT. So blueapron.com/meat. It's going to happen. It's going to be delivered to your door. You can make fresh food, 40 minutes in your mouth, stick on a movie. That is satisfaction, my friend.
Yes, it is. And speaking of satisfaction,
Yeah.
no, what else do you want to talk about? There's going to be a Star Wars spoof. Did you see that news from?
I genuinely got this email this week, and a little bit of me died. It just
To me, I said-
okay.
I-
let me
Go,
get on
you
my
go, you go,
soapbox.
you go, you
Okay,
go.
I love Star Wars. I have loved some spoof movies. They were great at the time. There's a lot of these spoof movies that happen that nobody goes to see, that nobody's really that interested in. I just don't think we need a Star Wars spoof movie. We had a sci-fi spoof movie. It was Spaceballs.
It was like 30 years
It
ago.
was 30 years ago, and do you know what? It's still good. We do not need another one. The title is terrible.
Is terrible.
The title is really. I can't believe anybody signed off that title.
That's the beauty of the title,
Let me
because
got the title.
no
Let
one
me-
is
let
going
me
to say the
find-
title, so they just call it Star Wars spoof.
It's just.
They can't call
It's
it. They can't say the word
awful.
Star Wars, right?
No
but
one
they can let
famous-
everybody else say the word
No
Star
one
Wars.
famous is going to be in it. No one really. I know.
Listen,
No,
here's the thing.
Who put
they-
money behind this?
the same people who do the other ones.
Do
and
they
I think,
make money off
I
these?
think that they do.
There was the Hungover games a couple of years ago. Shit.
People will watch that shit on Netflix. Like 13-year-old kids will watch that shit on Netflix. Anyways, to me, they got beaten to the
Terrible.
punch because every Star Wars movie now is a Star Wars spoof.
Boom.
They are all spoofs of the original Star Wars. It's comical how ridiculous these movies have gotten.
I'm going to find the title of this movie, and I'm going to
So-
just show you how shit it is. So
Please do.
let me just pull this out. Hang on.
Pull it, Simon. Pull it.
Star Wars spoof.
We got dead air, kid.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I was tipping away. Okay, here it is. This was announced in Berlin. The duo behind Scary Movie, so that's Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer.
You did say duo, right?
duo.
Okay.
Scary Movie franchise, epic movie, Vampires Suck. We all remember that one.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen any of these movies, to be clear.
I enjoyed the Scary Movie franchise. I hated Epic Movie and I hated Vampires Suck. And there was a really terrible superhero spoof that happened as well, which was awful. Here's the title. Star Worlds Episode XXXIVE equals MC squared. The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi Who Went Rogue.
Right.
I mean, what the fuck is that?
Nobody's gonna call it that. Again, it's a brilliant title because we're all gonna use Star Wars shorthand. It is now the Star Wars spoof, and they've got that branding without even having to do it.
It's that genuinely angered me. There was that, and there was a 50 Shades Darker press release that landed in my inbox this week, which was like, build your own Red Room. No, I'm not interested in that film.
Build your own. I already have mine.
Yeah, that's
I had mine before the movie.
well. That's kind of weird.
I get ahead of trends. Mike Myers to play Del Close, his
Yeah.
own comedy mentor. Big, name in improv. Del Close.
Yep.
Worked closely with Chris Farley, John Belushi, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd. I think it's really cool. I think it's awesome.
I'm really ready for Mike Myers to make a big screen.
I love
Live
I love
action
Mike
comeback.
Myers.
I love him. I think he's great.
He's sort of taking a page out of the Jim Carrey playbook here.
Yep.
Like, maybe this movie's really good and get some awards attention. I don't know.
Could do. Here's the thing. You might have seen my tweet about it this morning. I was on the Paramount lot this week, not doing World War Z 2.
To talk to Brad about World War Z 2
Saying,
ideas.
hey, Brad, we should do this movie. We should get Martin Lawrence to do it. And Wayne's World is 25 years old next week. 25 years old. So I was talking to Penelope Spheris.
Oh?
Yeah, I stuck an interview up last night on Forbes to talk about this, talk about the budget of the movie, to talk about the behind-the-scenes stuff.
That's awesome. I
Yeah,
can't wait for that.
We were just talking about Mike Myers. We were both like, he really should do more stuff. And also we talked about the possibility of Wayne's World 3.
I have a brilliant idea for Wayne's World 3, but what did she say? What
She
did
was
she
saying
say?
I mean, you can read the whole article if you go to Forbes.com and search Simon Thompson. She was basically saying people come to her with scripts all the time and ideas for Wayne's World 3.
Really? Okay.
All the time. But she doesn't have the rights. Obviously, it's a Paramount thing. So she's like, send the scripts to Paramount. She
Right.
would absolutely. I said, what about you and Dana Carvey and Mike Myers reuniting and doing it? And she was like, I would very much be open to that. And she was like, but obviously they... the whole thing was about, the teenage exuberance, early 20s, that kind of
Right.
thing. So you couldn't have Mike and Dana doing the
No,
same,
they
the
would
same
have,
thing.
they'd have to have kids,
It
or
would
one of
have to
them.
be
One of
their
them.
kids.
Yeah, either both or one of them would have to have kids.
Yeah. I would say, personally, I would go one.
I think so too, and I think it would be Garth.
Yeah.
Garth would be a family man with kids.
Wayne
and
would still be living in the
have like this
basement.
existential crisis,
Yeah.
right? And like, I need to find Cassandra. Like, I want to start a family while we still can.
But she's up for it. I mean,
Whatever it is.
Obviously, they had, with the movie, it's kind of well documented that that there was it was a lot of turbulence on set. She had a vision for the movie. Mike
Those guys
Myers,
got thrown in, from SNL, like to become movie stars all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I think Mike Myers has probably learned a lot since.
But also, she came from, I mean, again, this is all covered in the interview, but she came in from sort of movies with, very small amounts of money and was given this, I think it was $14 million to make the movie, which for Penelope was a massive
she
hike
came
in
from
budget.
like rock and roll, right?
Yeah, and you had a lot of people involved in it. You had Lorne, and the studio kind of left her alone to do this movie. The test screenings were, the results were through the roof. Mike wasn't there for the screenings because unfortunately his dad died, so he wasn't there. But I think, and she said she would be very open to re-teaming with Mike Myers, Dana Carvey, and taking the helm, and I think that would be a really good idea. So... But anyway, the interview's up on Forbes, and I'll tweet a link later on.
What else did I want to talk about? Sweetheart got announced this week. Did you see what that is?
No,
Have you seen Slight yet?
Have I seen?
Slight.
No.
Okay, so Slight comes out in April, again, from Blumhouse and WWE. They picked it up at Sundance last year.
Okay.
I really, really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
Directed by J.D. Dillard, he used to work at Bad Robot. I believe he was a Bad Robot assistant.
Okay.
So he announced his follow-up movie this week. It's called Sweetheart. It's like a survival horror movie, and it's going to star Kiersey Clemons from Dope, and she was going to be Iris West in The Flash.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love Dope. That's such a great movie.
Yeah. I think I might even like Slight more. But I think J.D. Dillard is a super talented young director, and I'm very excited that he got an actress of Kiersey Clemons' caliber.
Talking about
do his next
Blumhouse,
film.
someone was saying actually Friday the 13th, we were talking about earlier, maybe Blumhouse should take that on and do that. That's not a shitty idea.
They should, but I mean, focus on Halloween. It's like you can't just take on all these reboots and be like, that's what happened to Platinum Dunes, and I think that's why some of the movies didn't work.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, congrats to J.D. Dillard on setting up his next thing. I saw that last Friday, Hollywood Reporter dropped a cool scoop late at night. Sarah Paulson, who is red hot coming off the People vs. O.J. Simpson series on FX, where she played Marcia Clark. She's going to star in Amazon's Lost Girls. This is a book that I read a year or two ago. It's incredible. And it's about all these essentially Craigslist murders, like a string of prostitutes being killed on Long Island.
Right.
And it's like about the mother of one of the girls leading the charge for justice. A fantastic book. Check it out by Robert Kolker, Lost Girls, and Sarah Paulson is kind of a coup, I think, for Amazon. She's a really good actress.
She's so good.
I've come around on her. I wasn't always.
Did you not really?
I wasn't always a huge Sarah Paulson fan. But
really?
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know.
What didn't you like her in? I mean, I only really became aware of her.
Studio 60, I think. I wasn't.
Okay.
But I wasn't a fan of that show in general.
No,
so
I
maybe
wasn't.
that was like my first exposure to her.
Yeah.
I liked her in Martha Marcy. She's been.
You see,
she was in 12 Years a Slave. She was good in that too, right?
I forgot she was in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she was good. Great in that, actually. Yeah.
What's next? Do you have anything else on your list? I got a bunch of stuff.
Okay,
so.
cool. Let's run through some of your stuff, and then we can talk about the releases coming up this week. So there are 3 big movies.
I just thought,
coming out.
so Ryan Gosling signed with CAA this week.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
That was a big deal.
I mean, it's not like, he's been without a representative. He's had Eileen Feldman, who was his agent. Then she's like, I'm getting out of agenting. I'm going to become a manager.
Yeah.
So, she's just been functioning as that point person. But now, he now has his first major agency in CAA. Hell of a signing for them. There was a John Kennedy Toole biopic. He wrote A Confederacy of Dunces, right? I believe
so, yeah.
That's going to star Thomas Mann,
Okay.
who I think is a really good young actor, and Susan Sarandon and Diane Kruger. Thomas Mann also starring in this movie called Beef, where he's like a fast food manager or something who either makes a 10,000 bet or whatever he ends up owing someone $10,000, and he decides he's going to try to rob the fast food store where he works, fast food restaurant.
Is that going to be comedy, drama?
I don't know what the tone of that will be. That'll be interesting. Vita and Virginia, Ava Green and Gemma Arterton, starring in like a Virginia Woolf lesbian romance kind of movie, I think. The Rock is signed up for this Fighting with My Family.
Okay.
About like a female wrestling fan and her encouraging her kids to get into wrestling or whatever.
Okay.
He's going to have a cameo in that. He's producing it.
Right.
Imagine it's going to have some wrestling stars in it. Fox won a huge bidding war for this Vampire Uprising book that has been compared to World War Z, but with vampires. That was a big deal. There's a Jonas Salk movie that someone wanted bidding war for. The cure for polio. That could be kind of interesting.
Have you seen A Cure for Wellness?
No. Have you?
No, I haven't. I saw some reviews. I'm very into. It's out next Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the trailer looks really, really good. It's a Gore Verbinski, but
I think it looks cool too.
I read a Variety review this week, and it was kind of lukewarm.
The reviews are not encouraging. I don't think I'm going to end up seeing this movie in theaters
But
unless
it
I'm
looks
super bored.
amazing.
It's 2.5 hours.
That's a long movie.
2.5
But Gore
hours for
Verbinski
that.
tends to do that. I mean, his
Lone Ranger.
Pirates of the Caribbean, overlong movies.
When is a studio going to fucking rein this guy in? You cannot, for selling a genre movie like this, you cannot have a 2.5 hour runtime. You can't do it. Someone at Fox has to step up there and be like, what is going on? Or New Regency, whoever made the movie. It was mind-blowing that movie had that running time.
I think there should be a really good excuse for a movie to be over 2 hours long.
Yeah.
A really good reason.
This does not have a really good reason.
Which is a shame because I love Dean DeHaan. I think I really enjoy watching him.
I like him too, but he's made some fucking questionable choices
He
lately.
has. No, absolutely.
There's just so much Berlin, whatever. Fede Alvarez formed a new company, Bad Hombre. I think that was cool.
Yeah.
Kerry Washington signed up for some movie. Just some of these movies. Andrea Riseborough, Nancy, There's an Uncle Drew movie Kroll wrote a big story about, based on Kyrie Irving's commercials for like an elderly black guy who like shows up at basketball courts and like schools on younger guys. And like you should have heard like the reasoning behind making.
So isn't that kind of like a
movie.
black version
ridiculous.
of Rip Torn's sort of dodgeball character, effectively?
It was just like one of those announcements where it's like, this cannot ever be happening. We're like, really? No. Kevin Smith. Speaking of things not happening. Kevin Smith announced a Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Now, I love Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Me and my friends would quote that all the time.
Yep.
Kevin Smith, one of my all-time favorites, even though, some of his movies lately have been odd.
Yeah.
Listen, Kevin loves to talk, loves to announce projects. Sometimes they get off the ground, sometimes they don't.
Yep.
Sometimes he doesn't have the rights to Clerks or the rights to Mars, but he does have the rights to Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah.
So he wrote a reboot, posted the cover page on Instagram or whatever. What do you think about this? Do you want another Jay and Silent Bob movie, or have we moved on?
No, I mean, I think no. I like you. I love Jay and Silent Bob. Great characters.
Yep.
Loved Strikes Back. I think we've learnt our lesson from Clerks 2 that sometimes you just...
Wait a second. Are you about to tell me that Clerks 2 is not a good movie?
I didn't like it.
Oh, that's crazy. Clerks 2 is good.
I did not like it.
Nope. Wrong.
No. Well, no. Different opinion. Not wrong. Yeah, no,
Sad.
I didn't.
Sad.
You're wrong. You're a loser.
Wrong.
See you in
Sad.
court. See you in court. Of course he will. He's a fucking judge.
We
That's where he
just got
works.
out of work.
Yeah,
we just got out of court.
That's where I am. Are you basically saying I'm going to come by your office? Lovely.
Do you think this will actually happen with Jay and Silent Bob, the reboot?
No.
Yeah.
No. And I kind of hope it... I mean, like you, I love Kevin Smith. I love his work. I mean, I love Red State, which was a movie that did not get a lot of love. It didn't do well at the box
yeah,
office.
like that and Tusk.
Great movie. But no, I really enjoyed the movies that he's done. I don't necessarily want to see sequels to them. I really enjoy leaving a movie or even rewatching a movie and going like, that was great, I wonder where it went. I don't actually have to know what happened next. It's sometimes nice to just wonder, to just leave it hanging there.
It's kind of funny how ahead of the game Kevin Smith was in creating this View Askew universe,
Massively.
though. And now it's all about universes. And like here he has this universe that he created, and he's not really able to do much with it because the rights are like all over the place.
But also, if you take what he did with Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, it was kind of a zeitgeist. And I think to try and recapture that, to try and rebottle that lightning, it's going to be exceptionally hard to do. And when you have such a stellar cast like that, which was current and eclectic, working brilliantly together, how do you do that again without it seeming... Things like Zoolander 2 tried to retread that with cameos and with, pop culture and stuff like that. It's very difficult to do. I would say leave it alone.
I believe in Kevin. I would be down to see another Jay and Silent
100%.
Bob movie. I just don't know if it will actually end up happening.
I think also, do audiences want it?
I think so. He has a huge following. His following
he-
definitely wants.
He does have a huge following. However, how has that translated to box office for Kevin Smith movies in the last 5 to 8 years?
That's true.
It hasn't, which is a tragedy, but it simply hasn't. He's got the fan base, but they're not coming out and buying the theater tickets.
All right, there's a couple other things.
Okay.
Timothy Chalamet joining Steve Carell in Beautiful Boy.
Yep.
I misreported this at the time. I thought it was going to end up being Will Poulter. That didn't end up happening.
Okay.
Not sure what the reasons were, whether it was creative or scheduling. 10 minutes, cool. So I think Timothy Chalamet coming off of Call Me by Your Name, the huge gay film at Sundance where he's getting a lot of attention. He just makes sense as Steve Carell's son a little bit more than Will Poulter.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt circling James Gray's Ad Astra. I think we're gonna have a column today on the tracking board just about like space movies and like all these stars. Everyone's trying to get to space.
Yeah.
Like that's like the final frontier for an actor. I think all these guys just want to like mess around in zero G.
Well, there's that, but I had a conversation. Oh, careful you don't fall over this name I'm about to drop. I had a
Oh.
conversation with Denis Villeneuve this week.
Yeah.
Good old Dennis. And we were talking about how there seems to be a thirst for sci-fi, but intelligent, creative sci-fi, which is why things like I'm Concerned About Life, Passengers didn't land particularly well. People are wanting, there is that thirst for sci-fi movies right now and space movies, but they have to be intelligent,
right.
which is a shift.
Martian,
rather than
Gravity.
pew, 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 aliens. It has to be. There has to be a good story. There has to be a good idea. There has to be a moral or something, and which is great for filmmakers because it's a brilliant arena to play in and an underserved genre. So he agreed. There's definitely a hunger for that.
But are you feeling burned out on space movies? It feels like we get like 1 or 2 a year now.
No, I don't think so. I think there's no. I think it's fine to have 1 or 2 a year, and I think if it's the right movie and if it is, we saw this with Arrival. If you put out good movie with good characters, good actor, good story, everything about it is quality, good production.
Do you think Life looks good?
No.
Yeah.
I think Life is going to suck. I really want to see it. I'm very concerned about it. That, to me, at the moment, watching the previews and stuff like that, smacks of a movie that has sat on the shelf and has just got a really good name cast attached to it, so it got made.
I don't know about sat on a shelf. I thought it came together super quickly, actually, but...
But, it's an idea that's kind of been there, and it's like, okay, who can we get attached?
Like,
and it's kind of
yeah.
like, oh, someone's free for...
Damon, Clooney, Affleck, all these guys, they've all
Yeah.
been in space, and now it's Brad Pitt's turn.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting trend
not-
to take a look at. Jennifer Connelly is going to be the villain in Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah,
It's kind of cool.
yeah. I like her, but
Really
never
good
ask her about
actress.
Labyrinth.
Got
She
it.
doesn't like talking about Labyrinth. I've learned that many times.
All right, let's talk about some of the movies this week. I have not seen anything. I haven't been to I saw Sleepless, but besides that, I haven't seen a movie since like Christmas.
Okay, 3 big movies coming out this weekend. Lego Batman movie.
Yep. Where'd you stand?
I thought it was good.
Okay.
I know it's got really high ratings from a lot of critics. I know it's done really well on Rotten Tomatoes. For me, it was kind of about 20 minutes over long. Some of the jokes didn't hit quite right, but when it was funny, it was damn funny. I think it was a little bit overstuffed, but it's very, very entertaining.
Okay.
It looks amazing, and I genuinely had fun with it. I just think it's a little bit flabby. It's going to do very well. It took 2.2 million in previews last night on Thursday. It's somewhere in the region of 60 to 80 million for an opening weekend, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
Which is pretty solid.
For sure. Not quite as high as the Lego movie, right?
No, I think if it's at the top end of that,
It could pass.
it passes Lego Movie. And obviously we know the
It's got
Ninjago
the
movie's coming
Batman
out. So
edge, obviously.
yeah, which was a very, very popular character from the Lego movie, obviously now in his own film. I think it'll do really, really well. I know a lot of people are very, very excited about it.
Okay.
Also out this weekend, 50 Shades Darker.
Yeah. What'd you think of that?
I would rather eat my own shit than go and see that movie. I
You are
hate
so mean
it.
to 50 Shades. Can't we give E.L. James a
No,
break?
I didn't like the books. I read the books. They were rubbish. Here's a fun fact for you. When I was in school, I used to write erotic stories and sell them to the other kids.
Dude, we got.
I was a teenager. I wasn't like 8.
We got to talk about this off the air.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
And it was badly written soft porn. badly written.
So you were ahead of the curve.
I was ahead of the curve.
I can't believe you read the books, plural.
Yeah,
it wasn't just one
it
and
was
done.
such a phenomenon, and in the UK, I had to do so much work related to 50 Shades, writing
Right,
articles
you-
and stuff
you
like
wanted
that.
to know.
I wanted to know what the fuss was
great.
all about, and it was shit. I did not like 50 Shades of Grey. I thought it was a very weak movie.
Worse than the first one?
I haven't seen 50 Shades Dark. I would literally.
Oh, I thought you.
No,
I thought you
have
said you
not
saw the
seen
sequel.
50 Shades.
Okay,
No,
okay.
the trailers look rubbish. It just
I agree.
apparently it is not good. The reviews have not been good. Even Universal is saying it's not expected to meet.
it's definitely not
the
going
first
to,
one.
yeah.
It's not gonna happen. Previews last night, $5.7 million. It's the sixth highest R-rated Thursday of all time, which is fine, but it's not great. It's looking at around $46 million, which is below what 50 Shades of Grey did.
Still higher than what I thought I was going to pull.
Yeah, people like my wife said maybe people want to go and watch a little bit of soft porn in the theaters, and I'm like, just stay at home and Google porn.
I mean, again, it's
If you want to look at
it's
porn.
Valentine's Day. I'm sure it'll be a popular date. I think it'll probably have a huge drop next
Isn't it-
weekend, but
Yeah.
it'll have a sturdy week. I
I
think.
think you're right, but isn't it a bit creepy to go to this
On
Valentine's
Valentine's
Day?
I don't know. People have unusual tastes.
They do.
Yeah,
But if they have unusual tastes, they're probably looking for that taste on the internet rather than paying $15 to go to the ArcLight.
and in this week's third release,
Well,
Chapter
John Wick
2.
2, Chapter 2, which I loved. Absolutely love that movie. Seriously, we don't make action movies like this anymore. It's something I spoke to the cast and the director about recently. We don't make action movies like this, which is just balls to the wall, proper hard ass. The last movie that I saw that was, to me, an action movie like this was The Raid.
Yeah.
This is just gung-ho. 2.2 million last night on previews. It's coming in at around 26.5 million for predictions for the weekend. I think it could do more than that because there's a lot of anticipation with this movie. Word of mouth is very, very strong. I think it's going to pull in more than
People
that.
dug the first film too.
Yeah.
That
came
a
out
lot
of
probably
nowhere.
discovered on VOD or whatever.
Yeah. So I think at the moment it's looking like Lego Batman #1, 50 Shades #2, and
as
John Wick.
expected.
I can see John Wick possibly taking that second spot. It's not going to come out on top this weekend, but I would not be surprised if it takes second spot then.
I would be shocked.
It's a great movie. You really should go and see it. It's worth
I
your
almost
money.
I almost saw it last night, and I think I am going to see it on Sunday.
Okay.
On Sunday, I have to go to the mall to the Apple store to get my
Okay.
phone fixed. I lost all my text messages this week, all my songs deleted from my phone. No one at Apple can really tell me. They're just blaming me for not backing it up, but
Yeah.
it's like I could have sworn I had backed things up, and so someone had mentioned on my Twitter just that there was an iOS update that was responsible,
Right.
and I would like some kind of acknowledgement of that or apology from Apple. We'll see if I can recover my shit.
I'll get them on the phone.
It's like
Not on your phone,
seven
'cause
years of
obviously it's
text
fucked.
messages, all the dirty photos that Natalie Portman sent me or whatever.
All the dick pics that you sent out?
Yeah, exactly.
Man. That is...
What else is going on?
I just said that and I'm like, oh God, I hope you didn't send me dick
Jeez.
pics.
Oh my God.
Wow, that-
Never. Not me.
How are you going to fit all that in one text?
We got 3 minutes left in this show. Let's make
Yeah.
the most of it.
Here's a thought. I was talking to you about this before we came on the show. Night Ranger, Secret of My Success, randomly came. I say randomly, I actually chose it on my Spotify list this week. I was driving to downtown, thought I'd fancy a bit of Canadian rock. And The Secret of My Success, isn't that movie due a remake?
I'm not a big Secret to My Success
What?
fan, so I don't really
What?
care.
I love that movie. I would love to see it with Kevin Hart in the Michael J. Fox role. He is the mailroom guy, seduced by an older lady who rises up to the company, and there's the dick boss. I would love
Who
to
would
see
be
that.
if you're gonna have Kevin Hart? I want to know who's the older lady.
Well, I couldn't decide. I did have a really good think. I actually spent time. I spent time on this week thinking about it. I don't know, but I would love to see Kevin Hart as the mailroom guy.
Angela Bassett.
Yeah,
She's still got it.
yeah. Oh hell yeah, she's very very sexy. So there you go. That was just a thought I had this week.
By the way, I love the Batman shit that has come out this week.
Yeah.
Like last week, everyone's like, "Oh, this movie's fucked. This movie's a mess."
Yeah.
But then like someone mentions like, "No, they're happy with the script," and they're all quoting Kroll too.
Yeah.
It's saying, so everyone's happy now, everything's good, and then everyone just goes right back to like that's the headline. Like it's just
They were looking at
it's
multiple
beyond me.
villains for Batman.
It's hilarious. Kroll just broke a really cool story though that Ted Levine,
Yeah.
aka Buffalo Bill, joins
Yeah.
the Jurassic World sequel. That's kind of cool.
That is cool.
I like to see him hunting some dinos. Like,
It rubs the
keep him in
lotion.
a hole.
It rubs the lotion on his skin, or else it gets the holes
And
again.
the T-Rex is just in a giant hole.
Put the
with,
lotion in the
like,
basket.
Goodbye Horses
Yeah.
playing. That's amazing. Anyways,
There you go.
Batman. Everyone hugging us for updates. Like I don't know.
I mean, there was talk
don't
of
know,
multiple
kids.
villains in Batman. I mean, how many superhero movies work with multiple villains? Very few.
I don't know.
That's not a good idea.
We have to wrap up the show
We do.
this week. Simon,
Hello.
where can all the good folks
You can
find
find me on Twitter at ShowbizSimon, Instagram at ShowbizSimon, and on Facebook, This is Simon Thompson.
You can send birthday wishes to me at the InSnyder on Twitter.
You can
Please
do.
follow my tracking board as well, because that's where we're going to be dropping all our cool stuff over at the tracking board.
Don't forget Blue Apron as well. If you go to
Hey, Blue Apron.
blueapron.com/meet, you get your first 3 meals free with free shipping.
And be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to the
Do
Popcorn
that.
Talk Network. Lots of good shows here.
Yeah.
And stay tuned to the Schmodown on Tuesday. I'm defending my team belt against Team Trek.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Christian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.